What is going on, guys? Alex here, and this is Orion, a £1,400 or $1,800 high-end gaming PC. So let's take a look at it.
Now, I gotta realize that you
Before we get into it, I would just like to give a massive shout out to Kingston and Zotac for providing some of the hardware that goes inside this build. As always, all the links to any products that were sent to me and for everything that was in this build is in the description. But apart from that, let's just get straight into the PC. So at the heart of this build is the Core i5-7500. This is a quad-core Kaby Lake processor with a clock speed as stock of 3.4 GHz and a turbo boost of up to 3.8. This CPU is not the top of the line i5 from Intel, but it does boast some serious performance and a surprisingly cheap price. This CPU gives us pretty much all the power we're ever going to need for 4K video editing, Photoshop work, After Effects tracking, Premiere, pretty much everything we want to do, including gaming. Now yes, there are more powerful and overclockable options on the market like the i5-7600K. There's no real need to buy one of those super high-end processors unless you are specifically looking to overclock. And as for the cooler, unfortunately we're using the stock cooler from Intel because the cooler that I bought off Amazon, which was super cheap, didn't actually come with any mounting options, so I'm in the process of returning that, and I'm going to go buy myself a proper Cooler Master cooler. Handling all the applications and day-to-day tasks in this build is the RAM, and in this build we have a 4x4GB kit of Kingston's HyperX Fury DDR4 running at 2666 MHz. That total of 16GB of RAM gives us enough power to pretty much handle everything we're going to do in the future, and also gives you a future-proof spec set. Not only is 16GB enough to run VR, but it also gives you a great experience in high-intensity tasks such as editing 4K footage. Powering the graphics in Orion is a GTX1070 AMP Extreme Edition from Zotac. Now whilst on the market there are other less powerful options for a lot lower of a price tag, this card should see us through a good few years of use without having to upgrade. Having 8GB of dedicated video RAM gives you all the power you could possibly need for gaming, including VR. The GPU's design style fits into this build perfectly, and the lighting accents along the cooler and the backplate are customizable to fit any color scheme. Pulling all of these components together is the ASRock Z170 Extreme 4, which is definitely one of the best Z170 or Z170 boards that I've seen on the market. On the storage side we have a Kingston KC1000 NVMe SSD as the main boot drive. This is a seriously powerful SSD that gives you ultra fast speeds through either an M.2 slot or through a PCI lane. What's even better, it doesn't actually take up any of your SATA ports, so it leaves you free to have bigger storage drives, but then at the same time gives you super fast boot speeds. Personally I'm using mine in the included PCI card, but you can use it in an M.2 slot on a compatible motherboard. Along with the KC1000 we have two A400 SSDs from Kingston, and these are used as the temporary file storage for quick access such as the footage that I'm editing whenever I'm doing a video, or to store things like TV shows and movies. And finally for the storage side we have two 1TB Western Digital Blue drives, and these serve as application and backup drives, so I have no real use directly off them except for applications and data backup. For the power supply I'm using a 600W EVGA unit which isn't rated 80+ in any way. Now I know that'll probably start a little bit of controversy down in the comment section below, but honestly I've used this power supply in my previous build and I had no problems with it, and in this build which I've been using now for a week it honestly is fine. And finally pulling the whole rig together is the S340 Elite from NZXT, one of the best looking cases on the market right now. I think what really sets this case off is the solid tempered glass side panel, which just lets you see everything inside the build, and it has enough room inside to expand in the future. So there you go guys, those are the components inside Orion, a £1,400 gaming PC. So now let's just take a look at the performance. So taking a look at Just Cause 3 running at 1080p at high and ultra high settings, Orion manages to pull 170 frames per second consistently, with a couple of drops below 100 frames per second. Using the Maxton Cinebench benchmark, this PC managed to score a 609 in the CPU rendering test and had an average FPS of 119 in the OpenGL graphics rendering test. And as for 3D Mark's PC Mark 10 benchmark, it scored a 5754, which places it better than 64% of all results. So there you have it guys, that is Orion the gaming PC. If you liked this video, feel free to leave a like down below. A subscribe would be appreciated to get me to 10,000 subscribers coming up soon. And if you want to find out when I'm going live on the channel, then you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter and on Snapchat, where I'll be announcing those two things. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next video.